Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Intentional Excellence Podcast. I'm Candice Ruggiero, your host, podcaster, speaker, host of Candice Ruggiero Love Speaks, aspiring author and entrepreneur. And I'm truly excited to launch my new series entitled The Lost Child, Finding Yourself Beyond the Past. In this series, we'll be diving deep into understanding how our childhood experiences shape our present and exploring the journey of healing, self-discovery, and reclaiming our true potential. Our very first guest is someone I admire. She's Chris Wasko. She is an energy healer, spiritual counselor, and psychic medium. She is dedicated to guiding individuals through their healing and personal growth journeys. She specializes in trauma recovery. Chris helps old souls and survivors of narcissistic abuse heal not only on an emotional and spiritual level, but also on a nervous system level by uncovering deep soul lessons, balancing energy, and restoring nervous system regulation. She supports her clients in navigating life challenges and reclaiming their true potential. My viewers, help me welcome Chris to the show. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Candice. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you also for being here. And where are you? I'm from Florida. Where are you from, Chris?
I currently reside in Southern California.
Ooh, how's the weather there right now?
Right now, it's beautiful. It's what's to be expected, so I can't complain.
Yeah, same here in Florida.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that I failed to mention while I was introducing you?
No, I felt you really summed that up beautifully, so thank you.
Yeah, again, thank you for having here. Let's begin. All right. So, Chris, many of us have moments in life that make us feel disconnected, unseen, or uncertain about who we are. These experiences, especially in childhood, can shape our identity and the way we navigate the world. Now, given your work in trauma recovery and healing, can you share like a pivotal moment from your past that made you feel like a lost child? And perhaps share how did it influence your sense of self?
Yes, of course. I would say for me, it wasn't so much a pivotal moment, but the repetitive moments of feeling ignored, feeling that I needed to compete with, especially my siblings. I grew up in a rather volatile home, so it was really just trying to navigate, trying to please, trying to make everybody happy, to avoid very negative reactions. And in doing so, you really lose a sense of self. You don't know who you are because you're working so hard to please others. And that's really what my childhood was about. So it was this foundational level of how can I make them happy, and ultimately, what will make them love me.
Yes, and how did that affect you growing up? Like, how, you know?
Yeah, it was hard. I mean,
Yeah.
I felt that I was a problem.
Okay.
And I was made to feel often that I was a problem. To this day, the worst things that have ever been said to me in my life have been said to me by my own parents.
Right,
So
right.
when you're raised in that environment, you don't look at them as the problem. You look at yourself as the problem. That's what
Yes.
children do. So I just felt like I needed to do better. I needed to be better. So I worked very hard at
Right.
everything I did. I was a very good student. I was a very good athlete. Anything I would put my mind to, I worked very hard to be perfect because that was the only thing my father especially would accept was perfection. For example, one time I
Wow.
received the highest score on a math test in my class.
Yeah.
I was about 11 years old and I was so excited. And I came home and I said, I got the highest score in the class. And when I told my dad that this news,
Right.
he asked what it was. And I said, it was a 98. And he said, well, why didn't you get 100?
So
So that's what I was raised with. It
yeah.
was never good enough.
Well, I hope at least in your own way of thinking, like getting that grade, I hope like for you it was good enough for you. Like no matter how much your dad put you down, I hope that you still instilled in yourself, like, I don't care, I'm going to make this. Although it is hard, I'm glad that you still kept proving yourself. Maybe not to them, but to yourself. And I'm glad that, because in the long run, whatever you worked hard on, which is getting good grades, I'm sure paid off. And that's the
It
reason
did.
why you're here right now, right?
Yes.
Now, you did mention, Chris, that you were 11 years old. Now, I just wanted to share with you what happened to me when I was 11 years old. Chris, growing up, I've always felt complete. I've had a perfect family. We were provided for, we traveled a lot, and we had a good life. My father, like, held a high position as president of a company and owned his own law firm. He was respected in the community as, he was also an elected leader. But when my father at 11, he passed away from a heart attack. So when you said 11, I just had to share this with you. I felt incomplete. From that moment on, I felt like my family was never the same. And like losing someone physically from your life, especially from such a young age, really makes you feel incomplete. That was the moment wherein, like, I literally experienced the feeling of like emptiness. I was young, but then, like, like when, like, you have somebody in front of you and you take it away, like, you physically feel they're not there. So that's
Yeah.
when I realized the concept of not being there, emptiness. And like during my communion, nobody was there. There was no father figure during my confirmation. So that was part of me was lost during that time. It's that feeling of emptiness that I carried with me, that something was missing. And like you, that time I felt like the lost child. So I just wanted to, share that because, when you said 11, like, oh, I remember that story. Um,
Yeah, thank you
so,
for sharing because that really is a foundational point of trauma for you and it would affect your energy body. And
right.
even if you were able to evolve past it, you don't fully heal from that kind of loss. You just learn to live with it. So it does do something to you and it forms an element of you and who you are and who you're meant to become.
Right, right. And the nice thing is that since, like, it was short lived having a father, I was only 11, but at least he left good stories for us, for me to remember with and to carry it with me. You know what I mean? So even like like, he's very strict. Like, he prioritized education. We really needed to prioritize our education. So at least growing up, I still carried with me the things that he wanted us to become. You know what I mean? Because it was
Yeah.
that firm, like, focus on your education, hard work, determination. And at least I never forgot those things, lessons that he shared with us when he was still alive. So that's one thing that, I'm glad I had or I have, despite losing him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Chris, let's talk about healing. So, healing is often a journey filled with defining moments and times when we realize we no longer want to live in the patterns of our past. Now, Chris, was there a specific turning point in your life that made you step into your healing journey? And perhaps share also, what was the moment that led you to start reclaiming your sense of self and rewriting your story?
This one is a pivotal moment for me, and I didn't know it was going to lead to my healing journey. It was just a choice I made because I had had enough. And it was the moment I chose to cut off my parents.
How old were
And
you, Chris?
I was in my late 30s,
Wow.
and it was a journey
Right.
because as I had said, I had a very volatile childhood, and that volatility started to carry into my adulthood as my father had hit one of my children.
Okay.
And I made a choice at that time to forgive him. And I
Okay.
chose to even try to have a relationship. And it was another 8 years
Okay.
that he then threatened to hit my husband. And I said, enough, I'm done. Because in these instances, I was always made to be the problem. When
Right.
my father hit my child, my mother tried to convince my child it didn't actually happen.
Right.
And much like I would have experienced growing up, the gaslighting, the this didn't happen, you remember it incorrectly. And then she looked at me, well, you always have to make such a problem out of everything. You're always such a drama queen. And and again, this was me when I was a new mother and I was
Right.
navigating this big transition in my life, and my child was only 2. And when I
Right.
saw the look on his face, and I knew the look and I knew what happened, and the only reason I left the room is because I was nursing my second child at the
Right.
time, and I had to go get a burp cloth. And I'm still forgiving myself for that one because that's
Right.
going to take some time, I believe. But I tried, I really did. But cutting them off was really pivotal in my healing, because my first steps was just to really heal my nervous system, because I was terrified.
Yes.
What are they going to do to me? Because when you live in that kind of environment, when you're raised in that environment, you're used to being punished, and my nervous system was hardwired for punishment. And so I sought out a therapist and just started unpacking
Oh,
narcissism, narcissistic abuse, validating a lot of what I had been through, a lot of the things that I had been gaslit in,
right.
that it was really not good, those kinds of things. But in that process of
Right.
healing myself, I was healing my body. I had an autoimmune thyroid condition,
Right.
and I had healed that. And so it was really evolving. Like, first I was healing my mind, then I was healing
Right.
my body, and ultimately it opened me up to spirit, because I would start seeing people in my mind's eye that I wasn't seeing before. And in the beginning I wrote it off as a one-off, that's
Right.
just crazy, or a fluke, right? And as time went on, it kept happening, and I just started diving into that and learning what mediumship was, what psychic
Right.
abilities were, because I knew nothing about it. I would have
Right.
probably just called myself an intuitive empath at the time, but that was it. I was not beyond that, in my opinion. And as just I continued to evolve, my world changed, and
Right.
I started working a lot with friends, and specifically their children, and helping them understand their children's inner thinking, because I could
Right.
hear their thoughts. And
That's
it really
interesting.
started from there. It was very organic in nature. I would just be with somebody and they'd be like, "Oh, my child did this, and I feel he's trying to do these things to me, and it's so
Right.
frustrating." And I would then hear the child, and I'm like, "That's actually not what happened." So again, it just seemed like this random thing I was doing, and I was just, I guess, trying to help, almost playing like energetic mediator.
Right. Right.
And people started telling me how I was helping their relationship with their child, and
Right.
then they'd refer me to a friend, and and so for a while I was just doing this because I guess I could, right?
Right.
And I felt I was drawn to it. I was in these situations, so I'm like, okay, I'll help. And then it just evolved into me doing this as a career, because
Right.
I work a lot with trauma. I work a
Right.
lot with narcissistic abuse, and you know, a healer has to heal themselves first. So that's why it led me here.
I love it because I feel that the moment that you turned your back on those feelings of being scared or anxious and tense because you finally said no to that one thing, or maybe both your parents who are really making you feel this, I think it made your emotional and I guess your spiritual, emotional, mental well-being so strong, and like you healed, because I feel like I agree with you when you talked about nervous system when I was introducing you in the beginning. I feel that when you're at the point wherein you are physically well, it really has an impact on your mental and emotional well-being, and that probably opened your gifts. You probably had that gift of really gift of feeling, really being emotional, and I feel like everybody has their gifts. It's just a matter of really opening up to what you're capable of. And I feel like we all have our gifts, right? It could be mine's creativity when it comes to like what I do, and yours is that gift of like intuition and stuff like that. And I'm just glad that you finally were able to get to a point that you are now embracing your gift, your power, and not only to use to for yourself, but you're actually helping other people. And like sometimes when we get sick or ill, what do? We go to the hospital. Yeah, we go right away, and there's like medicine. But sometimes it's nice to talk to someone who could help you heal internally. And
Yes.
really just finding who you are by someone who can like guide you, like yourself. Because sometimes we're just like full of like those chemicals in our body that like you're only healing temporarily. You know what I mean? The
Yes.
best way for me to heal, my way of healing is really because I've lost my husband in 2023, and those feeling of anxiousness, tension, and just being scared. I felt that temporarily, but I kind of turned that grief into healing. And my way of healing, Chris, was really finding who I am as a person. Like I was able to embrace the ugly parts of me, the good parts of me, and use it to find my authenticity. And this is what led me to why I'm doing this. Like I finally found myself, and it's like the same with you. You found yourself when you finally turned your back in that situation. And I'm, please during our podcast talk more about what you do, because I know that people are listening and sometimes they're just fed up with medicine and like doctors and stuff like that, and they want something that will last a lifetime because it's going inward, not just a
Exactly.
physical level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm glad I found you, and you're sharing your story with everyone.
Thank
It's
you.
amazing. I love meeting people who found themselves and actually using their strength to help other people.
As you say that, it reminds me, I have this saying that I feel I probably say so much, it's like a broken record, but once you understand
Oh,
yourself is when
right?
you can go beyond yourself. And that's a big part of the journey, that why we're
Yes,
here. Because when we understand ourselves from an energetic standpoint, how our experiences, how our life has shaped us,
right,
and what energy we have then stuck in the body because of it. Because, you know, The Body Keeps the Score is a very popular
right,
book, but it very much is, we keep these elements within us unless we learn to release them. And
right.
when we do, it opens us up in this unbelievable manner. And, as you said, for myself, my stuff was just hidden behind my trauma.
Right.
And that's really
You've had it.
it is for so many. It's just we all have gifts and they're meant to come out, but you have to work on yourself first and you have to figure that out. And no medication in the world is going to help that. Doesn't mean don't do medication if that's where you're
Right,
feeling guided,
right.
but understand that there's going to be something deeper for you to learn.
And we're not trying to like tell people that, hey, don't go. Like I have nothing against doctors or stuff like that. But if you have other alternatives, seek it. Don't
Yes.
just base it on just one. Try to find ways that it's more long term. That I believe. Like something
Yes.
long term that will change you internally. Because believe me, Beth, I'm at the point in my life wherein I love myself and I found my genuine, authentic self. And what I did was I went to the doctor, specialist. Like the first year you go for like physical checkup,
Yes.
specialist. I am at my age, and I'm not that young. I'm perfect. Like I have nothing. It's because I went inward and started loving myself. I
Yes.
remove all anxiety. I remove all tension. And do I say life is perfect? No, it's not. I have
No.
challenges in my life, but I've learned to manage it and use it to make me stronger. On a day-to-day basis, I encounter setbacks, right? And especially like changing career. I was in the field of education for 30 years. My ultimate dream was to become a principal. I have the degree for that. And back in where I used to live in the Philippines, I owned schools. And all of a sudden, there was this turning point in my life that like something in my head. I guess I opened my intuition also, and we started receiving some things that maybe my higher source was telling me, which is to change my path because I can change people by going outside the four walls of school. That's why I became a speaker. I feel that my voice is making, I become a catalyst for other people, like sharing my stories with them, which is not all good, like the ugly parts, the good parts, and just being authentic. And that's, I think people need that nowadays, like real women, people like you and I, sharing our stories because it's real. Like our stories are real with real experiences and they can really get real solutions. You
Yes,
know what I
exactly.
mean? Like something that they can use right after they watch us or right after they listen to us. It's not even hard. You know what I mean? Just really paying attention to what happened to us, what worked can also
Yeah,
work for them.
exactly.
Right?
And
Yeah.
just knowing it's a journey, it's an individual
Yes.
process of, these, and it's baby steps, these little steps
Right.
you take each day. You see it
Right.
more in hindsight, your healing, than when you're actually
Right.
going through it. When you're going through it, it sucks. I'm just going to be very blunt there. It's not
Yes.
easy, it's hard, it's ugly, it's painful, it's lonely and isolating. All of the above, right? And then you look back as you keep doing these little things for yourself and you take these steps forward and you see, wow, look at all I've done for myself. Look at how I've
Right.
shifted, and then it encourages you. Okay, let's just keep going. You may not feel great
Right.
yet, because like I said in the beginning, it's ugly. It is ugly, but you get to this place of, you kind of just come to this place of inner peace. And it
Right.
doesn't mean that there's not chaos around you, but
Yes.
you've connected to peace. You've learned where that is within you. And it's just so incredibly healing.
And honestly, when you are at the point, also, I want to like step it up. When you can finally find your true, authentic self, which, like you said, is not easy, you learn to really quiet your mind to like negativity. I've learned
Yes.
to be positive. I've learned to value life more than anything. I've never been, right now, I'm at the point wherein I love myself. Nothing can bring me down. Like if there's a challenge, like I said, it's we cannot get rid of challenges and setback. I am just able to just meet it head on and move on and
Yeah.
still use that incident to make me stronger. And that's why I'm here every day on social media. I don't know if you visited my page. Every day I post, every day I have a video message, I podcast, I have a live show because I want others to experience what I've experienced. And it wasn't like a grand like thing that I did. I didn't even spend money. I just really, what can I do to better myself? I meditated. I started grounding myself, just really enjoying everything that I do on a daily basis. If I'm singing and cooking, I'm enjoying the moment. You know what I mean? And um a lot of speaking to me has become my way to heal. And it's just nice because it heals me and at the same time hopefully I'm spreading like whatever positivity I felt to others. And circling back, going back to what you talked about energy. You talked about energy. I mean, when I was younger, we talked about energy in science, right? Energy do exist. And I believe in energy, positive or negative. What would you prefer to have? And can I just share with you? I had this podcast guest. You went through the process. You and I were preparing, right? I sent you messages. I did this. I did that. This particular podcaster, even prior to us meeting, left me messages. Candice, you're a superhero. You are a Wonder Woman. Like like you're amazing. Even prior to us meeting, and she even
It's
said, "Dude, your energy is just so strong that I'm excited to meet you." And she even came in the podcast 30 minutes prior to our schedule because she was so excited to meet me. That story is one way for me to admit, to confirm that energy do exist, that I
absolutely.
can emit positivity using my energy and others can feel it genuinely. And that really right now is giving me goosebumps, but it actually happened. So I feel that if I have this longing to, like, I always like shining. Like, I want to shine bright for people. You know what I mean? Because now I know that my energy can heal others. And that person is actually a good friend of mine now. Like
Love that.
we're actually collaborating and we're doing something good together because we're both speakers. So I just wanted to confirm what you said, that energy exists, and if you just open your mind and your heart to positive energy, your life can change tremendously.
Absolutely. Yes, energy is in everything. And when we understand that, we better understand ourselves and the world.
And at the same time, negative energy exists. There are some people who emit such strong negative energy, and part of my healing is letting go of those people that no
Yes.
longer serve me. If your energy brings me down, if you're, of course, like, this was a drastic change. I'm all over social media, right? Like, I do have some people probably thinking, oh my God, look, who does she think she is? You know what I mean? I could sense it. Like, when people don't, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
resist your positivity. I don't know, maybe because they haven't found themselves yet, or maybe they really, you know, I can sense. So I feel like that's my thing. Goodbye. I'm
Yeah.
so positive right now that I don't need any negativity in my life right now. If you're truly my friend, we'll get through it. But if you're so stuck up and so negative, I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I will not waste my energy. Energy is huge, Chris. I agree with
Absolutely.
you. It's a
Yeah.
huge part of our lives.
And social media really can add some challenges when it comes to it because, as you said, people have these uh, opportunities, I guess, that they tend to take to make some really nasty comment. And it's really funny because in the past, I know I probably would have felt it somewhere like
Right,
oh,
right,
that hurt, like, ooh, right? Whereas now, I just look at it and I often will respond to these people
right.
and I'll say something nice like, uh, you know, it really must be a tough time for you to make such a negative
I
remark on
right,
a complete stranger's
right,
Facebook page. So
right.
I just send blessings to you and hope that they find you. And I mean
Love
it
that.
sincerely because that's something missing in them, not in me. And for
Right.
whatever reason that I was seemingly the target or a post I put was seemingly the target and they had to put that out there, but I don't engage in the fight. I mean, I
Right,
had
right,
one
right.
person literally cursing me out once, and I actually said to her, I said, the fight you are so desperate for is not here. I wish you
Yeah,
well.
it's been you.
It's just not, you're not going to find it with me, which
Right.
is really
Yeah.
interesting. And I understand why it was probably presented to me because I feel we're presented these opportunities to show us, have we
Right.
healed? Have we
Yeah.
evolved? Because in the past, I absolutely would have fought somebody like that. I would have been like, oh, yeah, you don't know who I am. You're going to come to
Right.
me in that way. And I would
Right.
have, I mean, my childhood was fight or flight. And when we're raised in that, you're a fighter or you flee,
Right.
right? So for me to come to this place where I'm like, I'm not going to fight you. The fight is not
Yes.
here.
I'm not
I've
wasting my
allowed
energy
peace in
on
my
you.
life. Exactly. It's not worth the energy. It's not worth the space. There's so many good things that can be done with
Right.
that energy.
Right.
So shift it elsewhere. But it's so interesting how social media can challenge us in that way. And when we
Well,
allow it to get in, then it's what are you going to do with that?
when you've reached that point that you have found your authenticity, part of it is not caring about what others think.
Yeah,
I
I
have
don't.
um so far nobody has really, like, done anything negative or said anything negative to me, which is good, but I know at some point I will, because it's hitting them hard, you know what I mean, and that's why they say negative things about you, because it hits them hard. So I think part of my life calling or life purpose is really, suck it in. If there's negativity, it's part of your journey to just keep on doing what you're doing, because you never know, those people that are negative, those people who don't really like your post or don't say anything, are the ones that you're touching, and at some point you are going to get through them. And I think that's my purpose. Like, just keep going, just keep doing what you're doing, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and because I'm not doing anything wrong, Really? It's not like, I'm asking for money or like saying anything bad. I'm just really spreading positivity. So that's me. I just keep going and doing what I can. And at some point, my goal is for everyone to find their authenticity because it's such a wonderful, wonderful feeling when you
It really
finally love
is.
yourself, right?
It's incredibly wonderful. It's just
Right.
it's you really there are no words. It's you just come to this place of I
Right.
love me, I'm grateful,
I
and
know.
you just get to this just peace. It's just very peaceful.
And wherever I go, I just like when you talk about energy, I feel like I just shine. Like, I mean, in
Yeah.
my without even being intentional about it. You just feel the smile after you spoke with someone. It could be
Yes.
a sales clerk or an Uber driver or like a custodian. It's just you feel them appreciate you spending time with them. Like I genuinely feel that our energies really matter a lot. You know what
I
I
agree.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Chris, the way we view ourselves and the world is often shaped by our earliest experiences, like what you and I previously shared. Our past wounds can either hold us back or become catalysts for transformation. And I know you've shared how your childhood experiences or past wounds influence your mindset. And I just want you to maybe talk more and deeper, maybe your journey now or how you're helping people. So, what were some key steps you took to break free from limiting beliefs that may have been keeping you stuck? Maybe just add to what you initially mentioned.
One of the earlier things I was doing was affirmations, and
Yes, I love that.
at the time, I felt ridiculous. And I know now, energetically, the reason I felt ridiculous because there was no part of me that believed it. So doing it every day meant I was convincing my body, it was convincing my nervous system, and it was convincing especially my subconscious mind
Right,
because all my programs were related to self hatred and not loving myself. So
right,
these were the steps I was taking to teach my body, teach my subconscious, because the subconscious loves us. The subconscious
right,
wants us to be happy. But in order to keep us safe, it goes with the repetitive pattern. So if your repetitive pattern, you've been told your whole life, you suck, you're going to believe that because your subconscious
right,
has believed it. But now you are saying every day, I love myself. I'm
right,
grateful and I'm worthy. I'm worthy of love. And you're continually doing this over time. That's the repetitive pattern the subconscious now puts at the forefront. And you're now able to embody that. And you no
right.
longer look at yourself as ridiculous. Another thing that I find is really helpful, but also very challenging in the beginning, is mirror work. So you can say the affirmations, right? But try looking at yourself in the mirror. Like, Chris, I love you. Chris, you are amazing.
Yeah,
I laughed.
I
I
love that.
cringed. It was
I've never
in
heard
the
of that. Mirror,
yes,
what's that again? Mirror
it
what?
mirror work. You basically you
Mirror
look at
work.
yourself in the mirror and you tell yourself how amazing you are in a way that takes
Oh,
out the ego too, because you're coming from love. You're not coming
right,
from ego,
right,
and but in the beginning, it could feel that way, right? Because you're not used to it. I felt ridiculous. I laughed, I
right.
giggled, I chuckled. I was just, yeah, we love you. And just I didn't know what to do, so it was a
I
little like,
love
oh,
it.
you're great. You look at you. But over time, I was able to find depth in that. And what I
Wow.
noticed is as I got better with it, I was better at looking myself in the eyes. Because in the
Yes,
beginning, it's harder to because we don't believe it. But the more you're able to really look at yourself and within
I love
yourself, you
that.
can look in your eyes because you're seeing your soul and you're seeing who
Yes,
you are and who you want to be. So, those are two things that I feel are incredibly helpful. They really helped me in the beginning, as ridiculous as it feels. And anytime I tell my clients about this, I always prep them based on
right.
where their nervous system is at because I could tell the clients that are going to be like, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing this. Or they'll do it for a week. And I'll tell them, I'm like, you might do this for a week and say, this is ridiculous. I said, and that's when you just look at yourself and say, I'm going to keep going. Because it is on us to take these
Right.
steps. So it is not my
No one can help
responsibility
you.
to heal somebody,
Right.
but to more guide them on here are things you can do, here are steps you can take. You know, we do energy clearings. I go into their chakra system and we get to root causes of things. And I can help them clear to a degree to where they will leave a session with me and feel a lot better than they did when we started. But I always let them know for the long term results, you have to do things on your own. And I'll give them exercises to work through. And a lot of them are very simple because, you know, energy is subtle. So to
Right.
heal it, it's the subtle things you do over time. But it is absolutely up to the individual to take those steps.
And I just want to say thank you. I love that like mirror work, right? It's just
Mirror
something
work,
new to
yes.
me. But it's something that I guess you do unconsciously, you know what I mean? But you never know the depth or like what it can really give you, like, like the benefits. Because, like, really, literally, when you look at the mirror, you see yourself physically. And I think part of a self care, self love journey, when you are in the path of finding authenticity, is really not just emotional, mental, but really physical. You want that physical change. And when you're looking at the mirror and you don't like what you see. Like, let's say, for example, like when I started the journey, I was like, I looked at the mirror after my husband passed away. I didn't like what I saw. Like, I was like, I look really sad or unmotivated, and I was like bigger. Like, I had I had more weight. So even that physical. So when you literally look at the mirror, you can see what you don't like in yourself
Yeah.
and be intentional and find ways to change. So when I saw myself not, hey, I don't look pretty, or I'm not satisfied, I went to the gym. I started going to the gym, literally taking care of myself. I had to like buy a complete cosmetics for my face. You know what I mean? So that is just so powerful when you really can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I like who I am seeing. Like, I like my hair. I like this. Then that's part of your journey. And then, like what you said, you're looking at your soul, through your soul. And you'll know when there's sadness in your eyes. You'll know when, like, you know yourself. And sometimes it takes just looking at yourself in the mirror to say, I don't like who I am. It
Yeah.
could be emotional, um, mental, or physical. That is such a powerful method. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah. It's really powerful. It's funny too because I said I was doing affirmations, and
right.
I learned that because I really love the work of Louise Hay, and I actually started doing mirror work before I knew that's something she actually did as well. So it's really
Yeah.
interesting too how our healing journey carries us along, and we find these things, or we encounter people who teach these things. So always be open to those messages
Yes.
because the healing journey is sometimes right in front of you.
Right, right. And you just have to be like, just be open minded. You know what I mean? And let me add to your strategy. Mine is, I've always had a growth mindset, Chris. Like, having a growth mindset is really about, for me, accepting change in my life. Like, just being flexible and open to the idea that really nothing in life is permanent. Like, your life can change in an instant. Prior to this series, my topic was thriving as a single parent, right? I totally forgot the title. All right. So it was like something like thriving as a single parent. So my podcast was all about single parents navigating life as solo. And a lot of us realize that, hey, nothing in life is perfect, is permanent. You can have a defining moment in your life that can totally change everything about you, about your family setup, about your work. Everything can change. So things can change in an instant, and I've learned that I just have to move on with my life no matter what changes come my way. So I've been operating with that mindset for as long as I can remember. It really helps me remain adaptable and continue moving forward. So no matter really the obstacles or the past experiences that try to hold me back, that is what I try to write, just keep in my head. that growth mindset. The change is inevitable, that, you know what I mean, nothing is permanent in life, and you just really need to be flexible and be ready for that change, prepare for that change, because when that defining moment hits you and you're not prepared, that's when your life crumbles. You know what I mean? And when I say prepare, go inward, make sure that you are emotionally, physically, mentally well, so that when that defining moment hits you, you're you can, you're ready. You know what I mean? It's not going to be that bad, you know?
Yeah, and from an energy standpoint, it really is whether or not you allow yourself to stay stuck. Because
Yes.
as you said, you know, you're adaptable, you allow yourself to flow with the changes, and by doing so, you are creating movement within your energy. Oftentimes, when people feel stuck in life, it's because they've literally become stuck in a moment, and that moment is
Yes.
very likely tied to trauma. So it doesn't mean that there's not a reason, and there's not a very significant reason to it.
Right.
But in order to get past it, it is allowing movement within you, and allowing it to move will allow you to move forward, literally, figuratively,
Yes.
no matter how you look at it. So I like how you describe that, because it gives a very strong visual of how to move past very difficult situations.
And I know I did have like an episode in my podcast about really stepping out of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
because like stagnancy in your life, whether you never experience a defining moment, can also be negative. I feel that, like when you're stuck doing the same thing over and over again because you're scared to step out of the unknown, afraid to try new things. That's limiting beliefs as well. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so when new things, when trials come your way, and you're not open to stepping outside of your comfort zone again, those things can haunt you. Those limiting beliefs can start happening. Self-doubt can happen. Poor self-confidence starts to get in your head. So, from time to time, do something new, do something that is out of the ordinary. Baby steps. It doesn't have to be grand, but at least try, to do something out of the usual, out of your comfort zone. So that, again, circling back with when defining moments happen in your life, you have the tools to navigate around it,
Absolutely.
right?
It's faith over fear. And I
Right.
find that when people really struggle to make those changes, that leap of faith, if you will, that their program is also tied to someone
Right.
else, usually their parents.
Yes.
So
Yes.
because I can usually either feel it or see it energetically, and I'll see like, okay, this person's stuck, and then I'll see if they're alone in that stuck energy or if it's tied to
Right.
someone. And very often I feel that tie, and then I'll see a parent. And like, okay, you have this, and that's a fear, and it's embedded,
Right.
but part of it is actually not even yours. So it's literally working to release a program that belongs to somebody else, and then you cut that cord, and it's like, I suddenly feel differently. It doesn't mean you're still not scared, but you
Right.
have more of that faith in yourself to
Tools. Yes.
try,
Right.
shift, do something. And like you said, something small, right? You don't have to just
Yeah.
go rock climbing tomorrow. You know, maybe you jump on a trampoline today.
Yes. And I like what you said, that we don't realize how much impact other people have on us. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even us doing
No.
this to ourselves. It's like how people affect us. So,
Yeah.
it really, that's why the importance of really going inward and finding your genuine, authentic self is your tool to fight whatever negative energies those people have on us. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because they will never stop. They'll always be part of your life. They could be a family member. Maybe your own spouse has this negativity. So it's really your tool to fight it, is really you. Like what you said, you have the power to just control what happens in your life. Um, so Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a computer. You have programs, and it's up
Yes.
to you to upgrade, to shift, to download, however you want to look at that. But when you look at it in that manner of like, wait a minute, I didn't install this program, somebody else
Right.
did. It's time for
Yes.
me to either delete it, put it aside, or not let it be dominant in myself, in my personality, in my energy, because it is not serving me anymore. It maybe did at one time,
Right.
but it doesn't mean it's meant to, especially when you're not evolving, because we are meant
Right.
to evolve.
Yes.
We are meant to grow. We are meant to learn. We're not meant to
Right.
be in these cyclical patterns of
Right.
feeling stuck and like we're not shifting. That's boring. I mean, a lot of
Yes.
why planet Earth is so difficult is because of our ability to learn and to
Grow.
grow, excel on this soul level well beyond what a lot of other planets and dimensions can do. So as tough as it is, we sign up for the excitement of
Right.
it because it is exciting on a soul level. It's crazy sometimes on a human level and really hard, but on a soul level, man, we love it.
Love. I love this energy. I love what you're saying. And think about it, even phones need to reboot, even your computers need to
Yes,
reboot. And you
yes,
know what? Think about it. Maybe you need a system upgrade.
yes,
Okay, I have a friend who works in a computer and he does system upgrade. Maybe that's what we need in life, a big system upgrade. And if that means finding your strategy or like going to another person who could help them, do it. Sometimes you just need to pause. Where am I at this point in my life? Am I satisfied? Am I where I want to be? Like, if this is my last day, am I happy? Am I fulfilled? You know what I mean? If not, do a system upgrade. I
exactly.
think I did that in year 2024. I didn't work. I haven't worked like 7 months. Like, I left the field of education and literally, I guess part of it was healing, but I think it's just me doing a system upgrade. What am I good at? Then I strengthen it. What is the weak part of me? Then I try to remove it, like a system upgrade, and trying new things that are totally out of my control. Like, no, comfort zone. Podcasting, live show host. I'm writing a book. I'm speaking. You know what I mean? And it's, you know what? You know what's amazing, Chris? It's so fun. Like,
It is.
trying new things is so amazing. Like, how did I ever get stuck for 30 years doing the same thing over and over again? Yes, I do love teaching. I love my students, but like, now I love that I can do more and be more. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
It's
And
exciting.
my right, and my childhood trauma of losing my dad, what did I get from that? What, my dad was always a leader. He's always a really good part of the community, and he really values hard work. I think that's what I started to get from that trauma. Really, like, I want to uphold his legacy for my own. Like, I want to leave a legacy like my dad. You know, do hard work, show up to people, and build my legacy, build my kingdom. And not
Yeah.
just because of praise, it's just kingdom where I can spread kindness and love, because that's what we need right now. Like, it's so ugly when you go out there, and I genuinely want peace, kindness, and unity.
Yes.
Like, because it's just sad, like what we go through. And that's one thing I look back when thinking about that moment when he passed away. I want to be like him. I want to leave an impact, and and that's what I'm doing. That's my life purpose now. That's why I'm trying to really bring guests to people who share stories just like yours. And anyone who needs a system reboot or system upgrade, we have our friend Chris Wasko here, and I'm sure she'll show you ways to really go inward and get your reboot so
Yeah.
that you can finally function again from scratch. Like when your phone finally is not like not full, like now you have more space for
Yes.
growth. Oh my God, I love that. I love what I just said.
Yes.
Find someone like Chris so you can have that system upgrade or reboot so that you can finally have that space on your phone or in
Yeah.
your body so that you could grow more.
Exactly.
I like
And
that.
you just
Right.
open up to so many things. And just to what you were saying, I think it is absolutely beautiful how you are honoring your father's memory
Yeah.
and just putting that love out into the world in that way. And it's, yeah, I just think that's incredible. And I really
It's
want
like
you
if
to just
something
keep
happens to
going.
me, I want my kids to be proud of me as well. Like, you know what I mean? Um, I guess that's it. I'm very emotional when it comes to daddies. Like when I watch like videos of like dad and like kids, like I literally cry. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
we get triggers. I'm sure we get triggers, right? You know that.
absolutely.
All right,
Our
Chris. So the
triggers
process
are,
of
I was just
pardon
going to
what?
say, our triggers show us what we need to work on.
Yes, yes. Or just a reminder. You can either use those triggers to bring you down or
Yeah,
use it to just a reminder of what you went through and
yeah.
that you're never going back. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Which way are you going to go with that? It's your
Yeah,
choice.
right? Because it will
Yeah,
happen. Like triggers can happen.
absolutely. Yes.
So, yeah. So, Chris, the process of healing and self-discovery isn't linear, right? And it often requires resilience, deep intention, and a commitment to growth. So, Chris, in your personal journey, what role did resilience, intentionality, or personal growth play in helping you reconnect with yourself and step into the work that you do today?
Resilience was huge for me and something I absolutely identify with on so many levels. I had a lot of things happen to me that I had to literally and figuratively get up and brush myself off and move forward. And it was exhausting. So I think that many of us can struggle with the idea of our resilience and our strength because when we look back, we look at how hard it was. So I
Right,
think it
right.
can be really challenging. But when we can get to that inner healing,
Yeah.
that's where we're not accepting the narrative anymore.
Right, right.
And the limiting beliefs have shifted. And now it's more of, it's no longer about the challenges and about our resilience or our strength, but just about who we are now.
Right.
And it's a very good way to be self reflective. Is this who I want to be? And if not, how can I make changes? And it's taking those little steps forward to do so. But yeah, I think resilience serves as this gateway to who we are.
Right.
Because when we are faced with situations in life, and we all are, how are we going to show up? How are we going to work with that? Because we have to do something.
Right.
We can
Right.
choose not to. I do also believe in rest, that the body needs rest,
Right.
the mind needs rest, and especially if you're grieving, you need to mourn. But how are you going to then shift it to be a better version of yourself?
Yes. True. I love that. Um, I've I realized that my podcast is really introducing me. I'm meeting incredible men and women, and now I can say that they went through life challenges and it made them resilient.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why they're here sharing their story through podcasts because what they went through in life. Like when you're resilient, it's because you embraced your weaknesses, you've embraced your life challenges and trials, and it made you stronger now. And I just love the idea of like really sharing with others. You don't have to go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Sometimes all you need to do is open a podcast, find who you can relate with, because podcast really introduces you to people who really went through stories
It's true.
like yeah, whatever. Like I've been coming up with different series, and I must say that a lot of there's so many life lessons my audience can take take from all the guests that I've had, and even the strategies that like you yourself, I've never heard of like a mirror work or the affirmations. Like not everybody know that,
Yeah.
but just listening to podcasters and their guests can really help you pause and reflect. Hey, maybe it's something that I can do. You know what I mean? Um,
Exactly.
I just love what I'm doing, and I just love every. That's why when I look for guests, I look at their social media first. I really research because I want part of my purpose is presenting to my viewers variety because they may have different traumas, different challenges. I want everybody to like get something from all my guests. So I'm very intentional with who I invite to speak. And I'm just so glad I invited you. I accept, like offered you this invite because I've learned a lot from you. And we're
Well,
all lifelong learners. I feel like no one is above anyone, or like we can all learn from each other. That I
I
believe.
agree. Yeah, I thank you so much for saying that, and I really thank you too for having me because I believe these type of conversations are so healing for so
Right.
many, and when we share our stories, it really helps people, I think, feel more heard, even if they
Yes.
haven't shared their own story, but they
Right.
find people they relate to. They find someone that's sharing a similar story and they say, that's me. And it makes them feel
Yes.
seen. And I love that. So thank you again for this
You're
opportunity.
welcome. I mean, you can say like, "Hey, I'm normal. Hey, this is
Yes.
normal. This feeling is okay." It's like you
Yes.
confirm that they can
Yeah.
confirm what they're feeling and say that there is hope. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Like it's
You're
not
validating
impossible.
them. Yeah.
One of my guests was like a thriving single parent. She is an actress. While filming, she is an actress in Vampire Diaries. While she was filming, all glamour, right? Her whole family was sleeping in a car. She was homeless. You know what I mean? People
Yeah.
don't know what people go through in life.
No,
So
you have no
people
idea.
just need to be genuinely kind and accept people for who they are because you don't know what people go through in life. And another
Exactly.
lesson that I learned from that is that if she can go past that experience, the whole family was living in a car while she was out there filming, right? Then anyone can do something with their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And it's taking those steps to do it, right? And not letting your story define you in a way that it
Yes.
holds you back. Because I feel like when we do that, we can put ourselves in victim mode. And there's no
Right.
growth in victim mode. Doesn't mean I don't believe in having a period of victimhood, because I believe when we're hurting and when things have happened to us, you need
Right.
that. You need to feel it. You need to go through it. But then how are you going to shift past that
Right.
and not
Right.
allow it to define you or be everything you are? So can you be you and not your story?
Right. I love that. Thank you so much. And for many people, we know, Chris, that the hardest part of healing is really taking that first step forward. It took you. You were 30 years old when you finally found yourself, like took that step to just say no. You know what I mean? That's the hardest part. It took you years. Now, when someone feels trapped in their past pain, it can seem impossible to see a way out. Now, as a spiritual counselor and energy healer, I know you've given us so many lessons already or advice. I just want, again, any other advice would you give to someone who feels stuck in their past and is struggling to move forward toward a stronger, more empowered version of themselves? If there's one thing that they can remember you with or by, what would that be? What advice would that be, Chris?
Well, anyone who feels stuck is there's something in their body not moving. So there's literally stuck energy somewhere in probably their chakra system. That's usually where I'll find it. And then it'll
But
evolve
chakra
more
is like
into
what? What is that? Is that the voice?
when you see, no, well, throat chakra is one,
Okay,
third
that's the throat.
eye, um, heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral, root. So we have chakras all over our body. I work with the seven main ones that, usually
Okay.
people see the picture of, but that's, the chakras are wheels. So when they become stuck, they're not spinning in the way that they're supposed to. They're not shining in the way that they are supposed to, because they all have light and they all emit light. They emit frequency and sound, right? As we said, everything's
Right, right.
energy. So if you're feeling stuck, your body is stuck. So you have to move. And that may seem so simple, but literally get up, go for a walk.
Okay.
I, or if you don't want to go out, stand in place and rotate clockwise and just start allowing your body to move and to rotate, because that'll at least start to shift your body a bit and shift the energy of your body. So that's really if you're like, I am so stuck and I don't know what to do.
Okay.
And then after that, you're gonna start getting nudges. It will be very subtle. Like there's suddenly a book you feel drawn to read,
Okay.
or there's a podcast you feel you need to listen to, or a YouTube channel that you're drawn to, or yeah, whatever. You're gonna have something happen. Those are life's nudges. That's where our spirit guides come in, and they put people in our paths, and they put books and information in front of us, and then you follow that, go with it, read it, do it, whatever it is, and trust that and continue to trust those nudges. And as you keep doing those, that stuck energy then doesn't feel as stuck anymore. And you may have cleared it, you may have cleared some of it. It really will depend on the person. But like I said, to fix any kind of aspect of being stuck, you have to create some sort of movement.
Love that. Or because there's the stagnancy. There's the
Exactly.
stagnancy, and then there's no room for growth.
Exactly.
Growth is so crucial in our life. You need space to grow. You need that mindset to grow. You know what I mean? We're lifelong learners. Like, there's so much to
Exactly.
learn. There's so much to learn.
Yes, we're never done learning, and I think that's
Right?
incredible. So just to open yourself up to it and allow that just openness to it
Right.
of, thank you universe for what I'm going to learn today. It's exciting. Like, I
Right.
love it. I love it.
And sometimes the harder it is for me, the more challenging. Like the more I push myself. Cause
Yes.
like right now, like I feel like I've gotten better with the podcasting. I'm doing good. I want more. Like I
Yeah.
just genuinely want to do more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how my mindset works, just continuously growing, wanting to leave more impact or really do more for others. Yeah. And I'll continue working on that and finding different ways to use my voice or my power or my energy to just, like I said, I'm big with kindness, I'm big with unity. Chris, I just want to say thank you for sharing your incredible wisdom and experience with us today. And I hope everyone listening feels a little more empowered to really step into their own healing journey. So, you've provided us with wonderful lessons. How can the viewers find you, Chris? You want to share your social media or anything that you want to share or promote at this point?
My website is the best place to find me, which is my name, chriswasko.com. And I'm also on Facebook at Chris Wasko Medium, where I just will post a lot of inspirational and healing kind of stuff to encourage people to just, keep on keeping on, because I work a lot with old souls and they tend to struggle quite a bit. And I like to offer that encouragement and support. But ultimately, I thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to
Yes.
share part of my story. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you.
And for my very first guest, I know very well that a lot of like the viewers have learned a lot because I did. I did. Um, are you online? Because I have a lot of guests who are worldwide. I have
Yes.
people from like Scotland, like Canada, Australia. So you can have your service online, correct?
Yes, actually,
Okay.
most of my clients find me online, actually through podcasts, and that's one of my favorite things. That meeting people all over the world has just been
Yes.
incredible. I feel so blessed to just be encountering so many different people in different walks of life. It's such a pleasure.
And whenever I share, I'm all over social media. When I share this, when I publish this and share, I do have like, I introduce you. I will get all your links so that if they want your service, they will just, press that link. All right. So I'm going to get
Perfect.
back later and get all the links because I share this multiple pages and multiple times. It's not one sharing.
Yeah.
I keep sharing. I keep sharing. I feel
Thank
that that's
you.
how we help each other.
I
Thank you.
agree. Yes.
So, as we wrap up this episode, I want to leave you with this thought. Letting go of childhood trauma doesn't mean forgetting it. It means making the conscious decision to no longer let it define your future. We have to embrace the lessons that your past has taught you and use them as stepping stones to move forward into a life filled with purpose, love, and strength. So I want to thank you again, Chris, for sharing your powerful insights with us tonight or today, wherever you're at. And we've learned that healing is not just about moving past our childhood trauma, but about transforming that pain into a force for good. I want to again encourage everyone, all of you listening, to take a moment and reflect on your own journey. Let go of childhood trauma that holds you back and understand that it shouldn't define you. It has shaped you, but you are in control of who you are becoming. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to The Lost Child. If you want more info about me, my website is candiceruggiero.com. I speak at conferences, conventions, professional development workshop. I speak on intentionality, authenticity, leadership, empowerment, and burnout. Thank you for tuning in. This series has started off amazing, and I know that we'll do more. We'll have more guests to empower you. Again, until next time, I just want to say thank you again, Chris. Thank you to my viewers. Take care, everyone, and keep growing. Have a good evening. Bye bye.
Bye.